Okay, so I'm back from running all my errands, and I did go to the library and I picked up this book that Deepak Chopra wrote. It's basically a book about living in a state of, just not only mindfulness, but it's where you embrace a yogic state of being for an entire your entire life, or you try to embrace it. And yoga in Sanskrit just means yoke, or coming together. And in this book, he talks about royal yoga, which is like the highest sense of yoga, which just brings all aspects of your life together. And as I was reading it, I noticed that he has exactly 6 weeks of different types of yoga to practice. And as I realized that I'm going to be home for my maternity leave for about 6 weeks. So I thought it was a good time to kind of try this. And I guess we'll start with week one, because he says like you can pick any time that you choose, any time that's right for you, that you know when the time is right. And I thought, well, today marks day one of the first day of my maternity leave. So I figured that I would try it. So week one is focusing on your social intelligence. The stage of transformation is yama. In the first week, you will learn to find the light in your social world of family, work, and relationships, which is also interesting that we start with that, because again, the reason why I took this time off from work is to focus on delivering my child into this world and just having a very healthy labor, and using this time to focus on making the home environment as perfect and peaceful for him. And then once he comes within this week or next week, my family will be arriving from the valley, and they'll be staying here to help me and James out. It says is that yoga considers this the outer shell of existence, the one that's on the very, very outward part of us. It has to do with our habits, our rituals, our likes, and our dislikes. Your personality is your identity, which has been adapted from input and pressure from society. By bringing light and lightness to your social self, you prepare the way for the larger stage of the journey. And then as I'm looking through the book, it actually goes through each day of the week. So here we have the one for Monday, and it starts with the theme for today, which is I create the peace that surrounds me. I create the peace that surrounds me. So it's up to us to kind of take responsibility for our life. And what he's saying is it's up to us to create that peace, not anyone else. We are the ones who are in charge of our own life and our own feelings, whether that be chaos or peace. So we have the power to create that peace in our lives. Okay, so this one he goes into explain that the yama is translated to mean guidelines or rules, if you will, that will set the stage of our conduct. So he talks about just how we constantly go from light to darkness and pain and or suffering and pleasure, and then the stories that we tell ourselves that make us either happy or sad. And then he goes into saying that an upgraded story is easier to enjoy and therefore easier to escape from when the time comes. Every spiritual tradition describes right living as an important goal, and yoga agrees. So the yamas are not a series of ethical teachings. Right living in yoga means bringing in the light of awareness to decrease the things that block fulfillment. The 5 yamas are interpreted for modern life. Okay, so the first one is treating everyone with peace and non-violence. So that basically means you can't be selective. You have to treat everyone the way that you know that they should be treated, even if they're not giving you that treatment back. The second one is acting and speaking your own truth, which means that you can't live for another person. You have to live for yourself. The third one is acting unselfishly without envy, greed, or covetousness. Again, that's self-explanatory. Number 4, radiating a presence of purity and innocence. Okay, so just non-judgment, happiness, purity. And the fifth one is acting with self-reliance, neither clinging nor creating dependence in others. So some people do try to create a dependence on those around them so that they feel needed, and it's saying don't do that. Okay, so as it is Monday, and he said that starting today we're going to focus on the first yama, which is creating peace with others, everyone around us. That is the first most basic upgrade to our story. Yoga calls for nonviolent behavior. So in order to live a yogic lifestyle, you have to, of course, be aware of not being violent or aggressive, be aware of your emotions, and kind of accepting that serenity and peace into your life, which will surpass understanding. So he said, keep that in mind today, and then hold back anger, even if it's just for today. Practice holding back anger, even if you feel justified in that anger. So I did pretty good today. I went out, I did some things, came back, and I have not had an outburst. I mean, I usually don't have outbursts, but today's no different. Okay, according to the Dalai Lama, he says that the practices of peace are to not create stress for anyone around you, even if you're joking or not. The second part is look for areas where you agree rather than where you disagree. Take responsibility for your own anger and your own resentment. Don't unleash it on other people. Go get out of the habit of blaming others for your pitfalls or for things that make you upset. Be aware of your impulses to judge, criticize, and get offended. Don't indulge in the impulse whenever possible. Distance yourself from hostile people and hostile situations. So yes, there are times where you know you're going to be facing somebody who on a daily basis gets mad about something, even if it's nothing. And at some point in your life, you have to say, I have to protect my peace and I have to back away from this person, even if that person is a family member. That is something that you need to consciously make an effort to do. This next bit of information, which is also the last thing to remember for this exercise on Monday, is something that I've also heard Eckhart Tolle and Thich Nhat Hanh teach when it comes to understanding our human emotion and working with it, especially anger. You just have to experience it and kind of let it take its toll, or let it take its course, if you will. So what Deepak is saying is that if you feel anger, sit in your anger, stay there and understand it rather than act on the impulse. What Thich Nhat Hanh has said as well is that, you know, if you're feeling that bubbly sensation that we feel when we start to get angry, it's going to take its effect on the body physically, but you can make the choice to not react. That's what the teaching is trying to get you to realize, is that you don't have to react to every single rising emotion that you get. You can just sit back and just say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing, and refuse to allow it to overcome your being, overcome your peace and your presence. So that's what it's teaching us, and that was week 1, day 1 for Monday. And again, you can start this whenever you decide. Again, it's Royal Yoga, Living in the Light, and we are on the first day, the first practice. So tomorrow we'll go into Tuesday, Living Your Truth. Okay, so thank you for joining me on this learning journey, and hopefully we can both take something away from it.